Hey, all right. Welcome back to the Wolves Only podcast, powered by JWFIT. My name is Justin Wenzel, and I'm your host. And wow, holy smokes, today, Channy.
Yes, sir.
We called you up. We called you up.
That's right.
I said, I need, you want to know actually the truth about this is that your podcast, when you were a guest, is you already know this. And I think you knew that it was going to happen before we even aired it. But it's our number one performing podcast is Channy Fit. Channy Fit. Everyone can't stop talking about Channy Fit. So I said, you know what? I said, fuck Jake. I said, screw Scotty. I said, I am all set with the dudes. Clearly, they want to see female presence. And you know what? It might end up that I'm not even on this podcast any longer. I might have to leave, and then it'll be run, Wolves Only podcast powered by Channy. And we have a very special guest today. That's Sandy. Right. What's happening, girl?
Hey, guys. How are you guys doing?
Oh, man, better today now. You know, it was a long day of work, and then I get to end it with a podcast with you ladies. And here's the thing. So it's funny because we were talking about this a little bit before we started airing. But Sandy, out of all the females in JWFIT, I've known you the longest. Like I met you when we were first starting JWFIT. And it's funny, you didn't like come on right away, but we stayed in touch. We met at the Los Angeles Fitness Expo a year ago, right? And we were Scotty and I were probably about 8 months into building this whole thing, but we were really like launching and going heavy at it when we met. Scotty was able to quit his job, and he was making enough money coaching to where he was able to quit his job and jump all in with me on this. So we met at Los Angeles Fitness Expo. We stayed in touch. And then 5-6 months later, you took the plunge and you started coaching with us, which was like really cool because it was a cool connection that we had. You and your friend Vanessa.
Yes.
See, I got a good memory. I saw her the other day again too. That was cool to catch up. So anyways, from your perspective, how did you end up with guys like us and girls like us?
You know, I always, for a while, kind of wanted to have a bit of a career change because I always wanted to do something helping others, being of service to others. And for a long time, I was kind of caught up in the daily grind of like working a 9-to-5 job. I worked in construction for over 14 years. I was doing, I worked for a general contractor, and I was doing project coordinating, and I manage a lot of budgeting and things of that nature. We built like multi-million-dollar homes like in the West Side. So I was doing that for a long time, but I knew it was going to be time for a career change soon when I had my baby, because that job was very demanding of my time. And although I loved it and everything, I just felt like I kind of wanted just to do something different and work for myself. Because I know that I'm like a hard worker or a workhorse, if you want to label it like that. But I kind of wanted to do something to kind of build something for myself. So when I met you, I knew I wanted to go into coaching at some point. I just didn't know when. And I was in the middle of doing a prep, and my friend Vanessa, who you met at the expo, she actually was kind of helping me and encouraging me. Since she's done a few of those bodybuilding shows or bikini bodybuilding shows. So she was we actually went to that expo to kind of check out different bodybuilders and what the show was going to be like. And so I could kind of be ready for whenever I was done with my prep. So that's how we met you there. And I saw your Instagram, and I loved what you were about. And always been into like metal and hardcore music and all of that. So I was kind of like, oh, that's so cool. Like there's actually people there into this same stuff or similar things as me. So I think that's what drew me to you. And I liked your personality as well. I felt like we had the same values. So I think that's how I ended up. We were chatting, and then I ended up making the leap at some point because I was like, okay, it's time for a career change. This is it. I'm doing it.
I love it. And it's cool because you actually were able to do it, which is awesome. And you know what? I'll never forget that day. It was funny. I think we met at the aquahydrate stand, right? And
That's right.
that was pretty cool. And then we were with Rise Above, which is where we were just with them again the last show. What a great show too. And Channy, was that your first time going to LA Fit Expo?
Yes, last time we went, yeah, last weekend. That was my
Your
first
first
time.
time, and you made a lot of noise with us, huh?
I did. I was the small one amongst, actually the prettiest one too, I must say.
Yeah, that's yeah.
No,
I
jokes
mean,
aside,
that's actually an accomplishment amongst guys like me. You know, Dane and Scotty. You know, that's easy. But you know, you
right.
gave me a run for my money, or maybe I gave you a run for yours. I don't know.
It
You're a
was
lot
actually
prettier than I am.
it was quite funny. I had a couple looks where they were looking at me like, are those all her bodyguards with her? Like, what? Who's this person walking with all these huge shoes? I did. I had a couple people kind of looking like they thought I was something special. I'm like, no, just
Well,
me.
in a really technical way, we kind of are, because like no one's gonna mess with you, right? Like
Yes,
you're like
yes,
little sister to all of
little
us.
sister, yeah, big brothers.
Um,
Right?
okay, so LA Fit Expo was actually really epic, and we this year was cool. It was nice that I didn't have to work 3 days of it, because that's a lot, you know. And I don't ever have to work any of it, but I choose to you know help promote Rise Above and obviously my own brand and things like that. But it was nice to have like just one day where I could be there, network, show up, and stuff like that. And it
Mhm.
was really nice to see you again there, Sandy. But it's cool because we actually get to see you pretty frequently because you don't live too far away. So you've been to like our events and stuff.
Hmm.
And your baby is gorgeous, and I love your husband. You know,
Yeah,
you guys are such a cute, awesome family, just good people.
They really
And
are.
exactly what we like to see at our events and in our community and things like that. So, um, backing up. So
Hmm.
before you got into bodybuilding, because and we'll get into this in a little bit, but you went like straight up like postpartum to bodybuilder. Like you didn't waste
yes.
any time.
Yeah, so before that, I actually wanted to do a competition. I waited a long time to have a baby, and my husband and I were trying for a while, but then we were kind of like, um, I was kind of more like split up 50-50. I'm like, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. So I'm like, I'm just going to go for both. Like, I'm going to go for a baby and I'm going to go for bikini bodybuilding, and then whatever happens, happens. And as soon as I signed up with the coach, I think like a week or two later, I found out I was pregnant. So then I ended up just kind of still kind of training with him while I was pregnant. And then, but then right after, I was kind of like, I'm just going to do the bodybuilding thing right after I have my baby. So that's how it kind of went. I ended up having my baby and then immediately going into bodybuilding.
That's amazing. You know
Now,
what I want to
how long have you and Ozzy been married? That's
know?
We've been married for about 3 years now, but we've been together since maybe like about 13 years now.
oh wow,
So we were, I think I was like 25, like when we got together. Yes.
very
But
cool.
I guess we were married. Sorry. I should retract. We've been married 3 years through church. Sorry. Because I'm Catholic. And then we actually been civilly married for about 9. And then from there, we've been together for like 13.
I
Okay.
love that. I love that. I'm actually curious, Sandy. I want to know prior to having a baby, right? So you went right in, you wanted to do a competition, then you got pregnant, then you went into training and prep for competition. But prior to that, were you physically active? Were you in the gym? Were you, I don't know, playing sports? Were you ever an athlete?
Yes. So for me, I would say that I've always loved exercising and being fit. So I during high school I joined JROTC, which is like kind of like it's like
Oh, yeah.
like it's like a military kind of like, they prep you to kind of go into the military at some point. And I loved it because I always wanted to be kind of like a badass. So I loved physical training. So I loved going to boot camp and all that stuff. And I thought that maybe after, if like things didn't work out for me, like educationally, that I'd probably end up joining like the military or something. Cause that was more of like my style and like what I thought I wanted to do. But, college ended up working out for me. My teachers are kind of like, you're too smart to go into the military. Just go to college. So, but I did. I played sports. I played soccer in high school. I was very, very involved in high school in different activities. I was in like MECHA program. I was I was a student body vice president. So for me, because I come from like a lower income background, I came from the mean streets of Inglewood. I was pretty much raised there my entire life. And I'm not sure if you guys know, but the population there is mostly Hispanic and Black. So it's kind of more of a lower income kind of community. So for me, it was very important for me to be able to go to college and do something of myself, because I wanted to have a more stable economic foundation growing up. So I always knew that in order to have that, I just had to work hard. So in high school, I made sure that I was involved in a lot of school activities, that I did the best that I could to go to college. And I ended up going to UCSB, did 4 years there, got majored in sociology and got a minor in Spanish. I just wanted to be very proficient in Spanish and reading and writing. And I also always wanted to help my community. I thought that by being a sociology major, maybe I could be something around like a social worker or something, a counselor or something, to kind of help people that I felt were like similar as me. I always knew I wanted to do something of service. And it ended up being that like this physical fitness thing kind of worked out for me. And I feel like I am kind of changing lives in a way, because with nutrition and exercising, I feel like it does really help a lot of people. And it's not just that, it's also the mindset and getting to know people from diverse backgrounds. And that's something that's very important to me, like empowering them through physical fitness, but not only that, but also getting to know them, and that everybody comes from different walks of life and different journeys.
I love that. I want to back up a little bit. You know, this is something that Channing, we kind of touched on it in a few shows back, and the product of your environment. Okay, you said not sure if we knew about Inglewood, and anyone that's heard any rap song has heard about Inglewood, right? Like, we know that's a rough neighborhood. That's a rough community, and and most, I'm sure we know, like, a lot of times folks that come from very rough neighborhoods, such as Inglewood and areas like that, Compton, that it's a trap, right? It's for a lot of people, they get sucked into that environment and they end up becoming a product of that environment. Women end up getting pregnant at a very young age, abandoned, drugs, all gang activity, a lot of things. And Channing and I had this conversation that there's some people that will look at everything and say, I don't want that. I don't want to be a part of that in my life. Not as common that somebody would not only say, I don't want to be a part of that, and I want to get out of it and be able to go back and help those people, right? Like, that's admirable. That touches on your desire to be of service, but we'll get into that in just a second. But the mindset of wanting to escape an environment to give yourself a better life. And one thing that we talked about was a lot of people that didn't have that background, didn't see like the worst of the worst, but have like this like middle class sort of not even quite white picket fence, but yeah, let's just call it what it is, that like mediocre lifestyle. A lot of times they end up becoming a product of their environment more so than the person who's seen the worst. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, 100%. And for me, I honestly made a conscious effort not to be a statistic, which is why I did not get pregnant early. I went to college, I got an education because it was so important for me to make my parents proud because I just felt like they worked so hard and it was difficult a lot of times. So that was very, very important to me.
No, and you know
Yeah,
what,
you
I
have to be a fighter.
well, and that's the thing too, you guys, like, my wife too, like my wife has never had a child. She's our age. You're 37, 38 as well.
I'm 40.
Oh, you're 40. I didn't realize
Hmm.
that you were older than me.
You
So
live
you
in
waited till you were 30. Yeah, yeah, right. So you
incredible.
waited till you were 38 to have a child,
Yes.
and there's not any knocking. I have a 12-year-old son. But same with my wife. She grew up in Anaheim. Not the obviously it's Anaheim. And all of her family, they had children at a very, very young age. Not knocking that at all.
Hmm.
But it was a, that was just what happened. It was just like what happened,
Hmm.
and she's Hispanic as well. And she just didn't want that either. She wanted to like go to college. She stayed single for a long time. She was in and out of relationships and stuff, but now here she is at 37. She just turned 37. Or 36 rather. Holy shit, I'm gonna get in trouble. And it's like and now it's like we're in a position in our life where you know we've done enough where we can start to talk about having children. Are we? Not quite yet, but it's there. So anyways, to get back to like being the statistic and becoming a product of your environment, like I think it is. There's something to be said. Channy, you were the same in the same boat where like you
Mhm.
had a father who was a drug addict, and you were like, I don't want to see any of this. I don't want to live through any of this in my life, and it kept you on a straight and narrow.
Oh
And
yeah.
for and I just admire that attitude. I admire the people because I cannot relate. I can't. I went to a nice school. I grew up in a really well off area, and I ended up a piece of shit drug addict alcoholic. So like really, I mean, so did a lot of people that I grew up with. But either way, I love that mindset of like seeing it all. And Inglewood, of course, we know about Inglewood, like and it is what it is. I mean, people from Detroit, people from Atlanta. Like it's rough. It's really hard to get out of. So it's admirable. But the idea that you wanted to go into what counseling or becoming some sort of like um well, you tell me. I mean, what was the goal in that? What was your mindset? Did you want to do um like work for like with like children, or what was your thought process? And then I want to get into what the outcome was here in a second.
I did want to work with children. I thought about different things and programs I could implement to kind of help them or guide them, to show them kind of like, look, um, this is what I did and how I kind of came out of these rough circumstances or neighborhoods and stuff like that. Especially because a lot of times, when you're lower income, both of your parents have to work. So you're less supervised, or it's easier to get into trouble, and then once you're in trouble, you're kind of stuck. You have a rap, you can't get hired, you can't go to college, you can't do a lot of things. So I did work for a while, about 2 years, in an after school program, which I was also kind of implementing programs. I was an after school program director. It was for a company that kind of did that specifically. It was almost like supplementing these programs for high schools, which I very, very much enjoyed working with the kids or with high schoolers. It was a great age because they're going through all these different changes and kind of learning themselves and all of that. So it was a great age to work with. But for me, I didn't like the political side of things and all of that. So that's what kind of pushed me away from that. And also I needed to make more income, unfortunately, and I wasn't getting paid enough, and I was working like 24/7, which kind of made it difficult to kind of, um, make ends meet. So unfortunately, I couldn't stick
It's pretty
around there.
fucked
I
up
ended up
that
coming back to
that's
construction.
yeah, it's pretty fucked up that those types of jobs that are so needed. And you look at like the jobs that are like government funded and different programs like that like pay out crazy money, but then you look at the ones that are like literally there to support the youth and the people that are going to be future adults in communities, that they would peel budget away from that, or they wouldn't pay the people, because you would have been
Mm-hmm.
a great example, right? You're like, especially when like you're somebody that grew up in that, you take an implant, somebody that grew up in a neighborhood like me, and plant them into that area, there's no relating. I'm not going to get respected,
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And they, but like you take somebody that came from that neighborhood, right? It's like how I always thought, like, and a lot there's been a lot of talk about this, but like police should be like people of that community, right? So they, like, them, it's not like, uh some just cowboy that comes into town and like just starts whooping ass. you know it should be like, it should be people like the community, people that know the community, that are able to serve the people that they grew up around. um
Mm-hmm.
and it's just funny how that always works out that way. So you left, so the decision to leave was solely income and politically based.
Yes. So I kind of like, I loved working with the kids, but it was just not something that was I could do for a long time. So I ended up going back into construction. This was after I graduated from college. And I just kind of stuck around there. I like construction in a different aspect because you're building things, but it's more physical. But I didn't get that fulfillment that I wanted in helping people, like in the way that I wanted to. So I think that with coaching, I feel like fulfilled in that way.
Yeah,
Okay.
you've always been purpose driven.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
100%.
It came back full circle, didn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It did. It did. That's why I think I even mentioned to you that I feel like this is what I meant to do, and this is what I've been prepping my whole life to kind of do this. In college, I took a lot of like psychology courses. I took a lot of different things that I didn't really know what I wanted to do exactly. I knew I wanted to help others, but I just didn't know in what. And I've always been into physical fitness. I used to go work out there at the gym in college all the time, and that's how I kind of ran into my husband now. But we were just acquaintances. We were just say hi and bye. But that's where we actually met in college. And we would run into each other at the gym all the time. So we've both always been gym rats. So it kind of worked out
That's
that
awesome.
we
Yeah, no,
ended
he
up
looks
together.
great too. And he's a cop, right?
Yes, he is. He's actually at Inglewood PD. So he actually went back to work where we both grew up, pretty much, because he also grew up in
He
Inglewood.
knows a friend of mine. Okay,
Look at
okay, yeah,
that.
because he knows a friend of mine who was an Inglewood cop, Caesar.
Yes.
Yeah, such a
That's
small
awesome.
world.
It's back to what you were just saying, Justin. Just, working in the place that you're influential in that city. That's cool.
Mhm.
It's funny that I said that, and I actually knew that Ozzy was an Inglewood cop, because I remember us having that conversation. But I did, but it didn't, like, it's not why I said it at all. It just registered right away when you mentioned. I was like, oh yeah, that's right, because he knows Caesar. And I love Caesar. Have you ever seen Caesar in real life?
I'm not. I don't think I have. No.
He's a big Mexican.
Big,
He's my
big,
size.
Is
like
he?
five?
Oh yeah, he's my size.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
That's
I've never met a Mexican that big.
same.
Never before in my life. You know,
So funny.
he's a big
That's
Mexican. He's a fucking giant. He's, like I said, he's actually a little bit. He weighs more than me. And he's jacked. He's huge.
Oh
Yeah,
wow.
he's but the nicest guy ever. He's a badass. out and right when they had babies and stuff. So I have a good understanding of the mindset, and like kind of the struggles and the and just like the mental blocks that women in postpartum have, and not from personal experience but from working from that side of it. But no one will know this better than you two, and I think this is a great topic, and I'm so glad we got to kind of intro off like that. But I'd like to kind of open this up to you guys to talk about postpartum mindset. And for both of you, you know, I know Channy's story about it, and I know quite a bit of yours too. If you remember, we did an ad contest a while back, and Sandy's ad made me cry.
Yes,
And
I do remember. Yes,
yeah,
that was
cried
amazing.
like my eyes out.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to kind of open
Thank
that
you.
up about that, the postpartum mindset, and what it took, because so many women, um man, they let themselves go, and it's like hormonal. There's so many factors involved. It's not like a dude who just can't put the beer and pizza down, like you know what I mean. Like there's more to it. A
Mm-hmm.
fat guy is unexcusable, and some could argue that gaining weight postpartum is unexcusable, but there's a lot more to it than just calories in, calories out. Am I not mistaken?
Yes, 100%. I guess for me, again, I've always been that person. Like, I don't want to be a statistic. So I'm like, I'm not going to let myself go after this and just give up, you know? And for me, because I am older, and I feel like a lot of my life I've been on my own, in the sense that I've been able to kind of be selfish and take care of myself. And when you have a baby, everything changes. It becomes all about the baby, and making sure that your baby is like, has the best opportunities and everything ever, you know? So I think you lose a little bit of yourself, and you go through this like whole
Yes.
change. And it's tough, because I don't know if a lot of people talk about it, but it is tough, because you kind of go a little bit through not depression, but like you're kind of like, wow, like everything's changed, and you kind of feel a little bit out of control for a little bit. But again, everybody is different. For me, it was hard, because I felt like I was kind of losing a part of myself, my independence and all of that. But at the same time, I knew it was for something special and something great, like your baby, you know. But it's tough. Definitely is different. And some people can you know, kind of fall into that not wanting to work out. And if you don't have these healthy habits already kind of ingrained in you, then you're just gonna kind of let yourself go, you know.
Yeah. It's kind of unreal to talk about it unless you're experiencing it. So I think the reality of it is that women are scared to talk about it, Jay, because you don't really want to say the thoughts you're thinking in your head out loud.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because it makes you A, look like a horrible person, and B, a horrible mother. If you're married, a
Interesting.
horrible wife. You know why? Because like Sandy said, and I think there's two ways to put it. She waited a little longer, right, Sandy, to have a baby.
Yes.
I had a baby way sooner than I expected to. We got pregnant 2 months into our marriage. I was 23 years old. And at the time, I was a little fit thing. My body was banging, in my opinion. Back then, I look back then, I was like, it was, you know what I mean? Like, it was great. And then you go from that to morning sickness, your pregnancy. Now your body's stretching and changing. You have no control over it.
Your
To then
hormones.
your hormones are going crazy. To have this beautiful life that you just birthed, and you would think you'd be like, wow, this is amazing, which you are. There's a part of you that is like,
Mhm.
I've never loved anything like I love this child. But then there's a whole dark side where you're like, wow, well, this ain't my life anymore.
Mhm.
Like, and it's these thoughts of your identity's taken, your body doesn't feel like your body. Um,
100%.
Now you're sleep deprived. Your time is all taken up. And no offense to dads out there are many amazing dads that are very, very present, very involved through the whole process, but there's only so much he can do.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
right.
There's only so much. So it's not even the fault of him. It's like it is on you. I nursed both my babies, so I was just my body did not belong to me for a really long time. And you get through this dark, dark place because you go, you look in the mirror and you're like, well, where did I go?
Mhm.
What happened to me?
You
And it's an
see, you look
identity
at it,
thing.
and that's something interesting because, you guys look at it as a dark place. You look at it as selfish, but honestly, I don't think that's a bad type of selfish. I don't really think that understanding, and I cannot put myself in your shoes from there. But what I can tell you is that I'm a firm believer that if you are not completely happy with yourself, and if your needs mentally, emotionally, physically, sexually, whatever, if they're not met, you are going to have a hard time meeting the needs of your partner, your child, and all of those things. So I think that mindset, or that depression that you fall into because you don't want to be selfish. But I think the exact recipe for success in this situation is to be selfish. I
Mm-hmm.
think that
100%.
being, you don't, I mean, wouldn't you agree? And I think a lot of women look at that as being selfish, as being a negative thing, and they end up leaning on it as an excuse to let themselves go further.
Mhm.
Am I mistaken in saying that?
I think you're absolutely right in that sense because, I mean, again, because I'm older and I see things differently now as I'm older. I knew that at the time that I needed to take care of myself because I needed to get back into feeling confident and feeling good and feeling like I was right back to before. And which is why I went right as soon as they told me I could work out again, I was right back at working out. And luckily I have a very supportive husband who kind of let me do that. He's kind of like, go for it. Like I'll watch the baby. We'll figure it out. Do your thing. Cause he knows that working out for me is very therapeutic and I need it. It's something that I need because it makes me feel, um, more level headed. It makes me feel good. It makes me feel more confident. So he was very supportive of all that. He's a great father. He's always been very present with everything, which is why I'm able to do the things that I am able to do because he always has kind of backed me up and everything. So, um, I was fortunate enough to be able to go back to the gym right away. And then I went into bikini body building or prep mode. And that definitely helped me. And I think that you're right, Justin, that, it's not it feels that way that you're being selfish, but at the same time, when you feel good, when you're confident, when your mind is back, then you know that you're going to be a better mom, a better wife, a more present person, as opposed to if you kind of like, no, I just need to, I'm a mom now, so now I should just be all about the baby and put myself last. Like that's not the right mindset, and I think that you're right there.
No,
Yeah.
not at all. And it's funny because I have seen both sides of it and had both types of clients. I've had clients that were just like you, Sandy, where it was like, I'm taking my body back. No one's going to stop me. My husband's going to watch the kid. I even know a woman that trains at UFC that pushes a stroller with her newborn child while she's pregnant with another child from equipment to equipment. When the child care is not when it's closed, and she literally does it. She's so dedicated while she's pregnant. And then
That's
again,
amazing.
when
That
yeah,
that's how I definitely also was like that way. I worked out through my entire pregnancy, and it is tough actually when you have a baby and you're still trying to work out. So I'm not saying that it's easy at all. It's so hard. Some days I was literally like, this is really hard. Like, how am I going to work out? But I have to work out. So I like strap my baby on me and I'd walk on the treadmill. Like, I'm working out. Like, I'll figure it out. It's going to happen. Like, that's always been like, I'll figure it out. We're working out today. You and me,
Yeah.
baby.
Yeah, I feel like that competition really helped you because what it was it was a goal. It was
Mm-hmm.
something for you to take back your identity and find yourself again, something that was yours, right?
100%.
And I think that's what postpartum blues brings is like you no longer have something that's yours. Unless like Sandy, she was working out before that was an outlet, but for a lot of moms out there, they've never hit the gym. They've never done a yoga class or a Pilates. They've never worked out before they had kids. So now it's even, It's a
Well, yeah,
downward
that
spiral.
is
Mhm.
tough. They don't have that warrior mindset from the get-go. So when
Right.
they enter that mental battlefield, they get taken over. And I was gonna say a second ago, and it slipped my mind, but like I said, I've worked with both sides of the spectrum. And what I've seen and what I've actually experienced in communicating and coaching these women is the ones who like go after it and go like just go in and go hard, take their bodies back, take their life back, fix their mindset. Um, they tend to be happier moms.
Oh yeah.
100%. That's so true.
Where the women who like struggle and they yo-yo and they fall off, they stop tracking their stuff, and I'm like getting on them and stuff. Like they're so emotionally unstable. It's absolutely insane. Like it's such a stark difference in what I would imagine would be like the quality of life that you have, but not only that, but the quality of parent that you are.
Oh yeah. I mean, I
Yes.
didn't find fitness until my second baby was, he was about 2 years old. So I went a few years just didn't know what to do with myself, you know? So I look at moms like that and I'm blown away and I'm just like, I'm happy for them. I'm like, that's amazing that you either were fit before or you decided when you got pregnant to start getting fit and then you kept up with it. It's important, it's so vital to have an outlet to move your body. That's a hormone balancer in and of itself. That's what people
Yes.
don't realize.
Mm-hmm.
Working out balances your hormones.
It
It's better
does.
than a drug. It releases, all of the chemical responses, but in a healthy way. And that's something to be said. So
Right. So you're
yeah.
happier, you have more energy.
Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
anybody that says that reclaiming your body, becoming a gym rat, becoming a competitor, things like that's selfish as a new mom. It's they're just dumb fucks. Like really, it's just
That
they're
culture.
just
But
fucking
I think
stupid.
it's ignorant because I think also as a competitor, you're managing your eating. So I think that you also learn
To mimic what you do, right?
yes.
And if all they've ever known is to see mom and dad training, eating right, stuff like that, they're very likely to train, eat right, and keep a positive mental
That's right.
attitude. So
And
But
that's what I tell moms that I coach as well. It's like, all of this stuff that you're learning is not just for you. It's for your kids, it's for your family, it's for your friends. Like you're inspiring so many people just by making these changes. And even your family, you're learning all these healthy habits that are honestly going to help you avoid all these like illnesses that are avoidable, like diabetes type 2 and all that stuff that sometimes it's very common amongst like Hispanic people. We eat a lot of carbs and things that we're not supposed to. So I think that that's also helpful, and I kind of encourage them like this is a good thing. It's not just for you; it's for everybody. You'll see.
oh my
but
god,
I feel like
too.
there's something to be said though about the culture of, listen, I'm around a lot of hippy dippy moms. Okay, California people listening in, we're from California, the three of us, Southern California to be specific, but there's a lot of hippy dippy moms out there that's like immediately like organic lotion and organic this and the food has to be organic. But
Hmm.
wait, how do they feed themselves? The moms. How do they take care of themselves? Their babies have to, everything has to be, even organic diapers. Let's talk about, can't have disposable diapers, but they're running through the Chick-fil-A drive-through,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
and they're having Taco Bell. And I'm like, that's, but if you have a fit mom come into play, they're, what are they doing? What are they doing? Like, like, oh, like, look at her. Like, ugh, like they're jealous. I don't understand it. Can we talk about this? Can we talk about this
Is
subject
that
right
is
here?
that a thing? Is there a jealousy? Is there an animosity
Oh,
between
yeah,
fat moms and fit moms? It's
Absolutely. I,
real.
I think so.
all day.
Because
Go
I
ahead.
think a lot of times they just don't I feel like a lot of them make excuses as to why they can't do certain things. And I know that everybody has different circumstances, 100%. But when you really want something, you're going to make it happen. Like, no matter what, like, you'll figure it out. Even, it doesn't mean that you have to go 100% all in. You can do little changes bit by bit until you reach your goal. Like, but it's about really wanting to make those changes. And a lot of
Yeah.
times, like, when you really aren't as committed, then you kind of look down on people that are, which is like, I don't know, doesn't make sense to me.
It's fucked up. And it's like, it's funny that you say that, because that doesn't really exist amongst dudes, right? It goes a couple ways. You move into a neighborhood with a bunch of fat dads, and you just like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna become a fat dad like these guys and get lazy and whatever, And I've been in those neighborhoods before. The neighborhood that I lived in, that before I moved to California, it was all fat dads. They're all my age. They were successful, big homes, beautiful homes. They were all fat. They all drank together. It was like a big long road, one road with all brand new homes, and they were all 35 to 40-year-old successful families. And football Sunday, everybody went to one house, and they just drink and eat, and they would just get fat. And I stayed jacked, the whole entire time. And all the dads, like, I would be out if I mowed the lawn, which I didn't really ever mow the lawn, but like if I was out on the lawn, like doing stuff, I'd have my shirt off and stuff, and the dads would just be like, well, Justin's fucking jacked, but they weren't. They would like look up to me. They would like want to be like, I'm gonna start working out, and I'm like, no, you're not, Walter, you're not gonna be working out. Like, let's just call it what it is. You're getting fatter by the second. But like, it would just be a joke and laugh about it and whatever, but it was never like tear down or bat or sideways look. It was always like, between dudes, in my experience, it's always been that, right? It's either they join you and they get fat with you, or they support you or whatever. They don't give a fuck. But it's funny to me to know, like, because Sandy, you said, you understand that people have different circumstances. Not really. Not
Yeah, she's so
really.
sweet. I love Sandy. You're so sweet because she's very empathetic to that. But I would have to agree with you, Justin. I don't have empathy for that because every person that has fought for their health to be priority, it's never easy. And the
Yeah.
only people that will understand that are the people that are in shape, that put their health first, that prioritize it. It's not easy. It
Yeah.
isn't. So
I
it
have
doesn't
plenty. I
matter.
have plenty of clients that are single moms.
Yeah,
Tons of them.
exactly.
And they're jacked.
That's
And
mhm.
they work jobs. A lot of them have massive careers. A lot of them work
Yep.
40, 50, 60 hours a week, and they're jacked.
Hmm.
And they're moms.
Hmm. That's why nobody talks shit to me. Because,
Is that
and I
why?
don't say this
I don't think that's why.
I
I think because you're scary.
hope I'm not scary, but I say this in the most like humblest way is like, I've had women like come to me as clients, potential clients, and I love coaching women because I love seeing them rise up past that limited mindset of I have no way out of the kids and being a wife to take care of myself, and then I show them the crack in the door. And that's the thing is we can have excuses about anything all day long, anything that's a little difficult. There's always an excuse we could have, right? So, but it is something to be said that moms like Sandy, and anybody that's in shape as a mom, and you don't have to be all jacked, but somebody that prioritizes their health, there is something to be said. There is two categories. There's the fit moms and there's the unfit moms. And the unfit moms look at the fit moms and they're insecure because they're wondering, what is she doing that I'm not doing? How can I do that? But instead it flips to, ugh, right?
Yeah.
Versus,
Yeah, and I feel like we also have a lot of vices, like bad habits and eating bad food or drinking too much or excessively, and they just aren't willing to give it up. And that's just, it's just
yeah,
sad because it's kind of like,
right.
if I can do it, you can do it. Like anyone can
Well,
do it. You just have to be willing to put in the work, and that's what it really
Mhm.
comes down to.
well,
Absolutely.
what
Um,
wouldn't you
and
think though
and not
that,
eating junk
go ahead.
food
Well, no, and what do you,
and not
wouldn't
eating.
you, sorry. Um, wouldn't you think that if, so in my eyes, I always look at, um, trauma. I always look at, and trauma can be, it doesn't necessarily mean a negative thing, but let's just say that like postpartum depression is like a form of trauma. Let's just say, we'll call it what it is. Okay. Or postpartum, any like negative side effect from being postpartum is trauma, and you're going to need to cope. So those vices, those bad habits are coping mechanisms, right? And we use coping
Mhm.
mechanisms to bring us to the present moment, which is right in the spot. So when a new mom is constantly snacking or like fueling herself to like, keep herself in a steady flow of some artificial presence, whether it's she starts getting into wine because she's at home with the kid all the time, or they're eating off their kids' plates, and getting all those extra calories in from that method. Like this is an instant gratification coping mechanism, right? They're unhappy with
Mhm.
themselves, so they feel the need to supply themselves with some sort of instant whatever it is, you know
100%. That's true.
Mhm.
so really what it is that I think that a lot of these moms, they got to have, like Channy, you said goal, but I think that the mindset needs to be that they need purpose, right?
Mm.
First
Mhm.
for themselves first, and then they need to take that purpose and understand that they're going to be a better mother, a better wife if they're married, or significant, or a spouse or a significant other, whatever, that they're going to be better once they find that purpose for themselves. But they choose
Yeah.
the quick fix and the coping mechanisms, whether they're detrimental to their health, or they're just keeping them soft and fat and unhappy, but somehow they're looking for something to bring them right to that moment to make them happy right then.
Well, because they're drowning.
Is
That's
that
what
it?
I was doing. Drowning. Oh yeah.
And
You
not
know,
only that, but I think that when you're pregnant, you're also like eating because you think like I'm eating for two, and depending on what your eating habits are,
Interesting.
then you kind of like, once you have the baby, you think like, hey, I'm still used
oh my
that's all you
gosh.
really need to increase it. But some people, they start having cravings and just eat everything, and it just spins out of control.
So when you sign on a new mom as a client, um
Mm.
my process a lot of times is I don't really touch their diet right away. um when I do start to look, like I tell them to cut sugars. I tell them to, I always tell everybody to cut booze because it's a fucking waste of time. Um,
Mhm.
but I always tell them to cut sugars out entirely, like, not carbs, like, but just sugar. Because a lot of times, like, they'll eat sweets. Um,
Mm.
and I kind of leave it for a little bit. Cutting the sugar typically does give us a nice start. And then from there, I usually keep if they're breastfeeding, I usually keep their fats pretty high. Now I consult with Jonathan because Jonathan takes into account the size of the baby, its feeding schedule and things like that, or nursing schedule, and things like that. But where do you guys go when you bring a new mom on? Are you keeping fats high? Are you guys changing everything right away? Do you change more slowly than you would with just a fat woman or fat man? What's your process?
Go ahead, Sandy. I'll let you go first.
I think I'm same way as you. I kind of keep their fats a little high because they are still nursing, and then as they're as it progressively, depending, I also ask them like, how long are you going to be nursing? Is it going to be like a long time, or you know, just a couple of months? So then at that point we can switch their routine to cutting their sugars and all that stuff. I kind of just have them eating healthy whole foods and just making sure that they're not overeating anymore. And also not eating like added sugars or any of that stuff, you know, just making sure that they're healthy for themselves and for their baby. And then so they're nursing also the you know, quality baby milk.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's the biggest issue is they always are so concerned about their milk supply.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of taboo out there that oh my gosh, I'm going to lose my milk supply. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, you're going to lose your milk supply because you eat like crap,
Interesting.
you know? So I take away sugar too. Alcohol actually messes up with your milk supply. I just tell them, I'm like, cook at home, stop eating fried foods, stop eating fast foods, and up your protein. I make sure their carbs are good, like healthy carbs. Um, let's get some vegetables in your diet. You know, let's get some good stuff. I put them on some good supplements, and
Mm-hmm.
honestly, I don't treat them much different. In the gym, it's actually it's a lot easier than people think.
Yeah, you shouldn't really be drinking if you're nursing. Period. I don't know.
You really shouldn't.
Yeah, I thought that was a thing too.
Yeah,
I think they shouldn't at all.
that
100%.
whole like pump and dump thing, that's a
No,
farce. No, alcohol stays in your system
it
for
does.
how long is
Correct.
it? You guys know.
Well,
You guys know. I
it's
don't know.
it's usually it's a shot an hour or a beer an hour is
Hmm.
about how long
Yeah.
it stays in your system. Now, how long it stays in your breast milk, I don't know because I don't produce that. At least I don't think I do. No one's ever. I have nipples, Greg. Can you milk me? Uh,
It's true.
yeah, but I know a little bit about how long alcohol stays in your system. Trust me, I got plenty of cops and judges that would be able to attest to that. But yeah, you know, that's just it. Like, you know, I don't think that the actual diet needs to um you don't need to like what you're going on a massive deficit, you're going to cut everything. That's fine, but the women with the best physiques train like dudes. You're going to be squatting, you're going to be deadlifting, you're going to be bench pressing. Like you're going to. Otherwise, you're not going to have the physique you want. Well, I'm going to do like Pilates and like walk on the treadmill like for a little bit. And I'm like, no, you're not. Not if I'm coaching you. But
That's not going to shape your body. So I usually just tell them like I work out really hard and I've been working out for years. Like, do I look like a dude? Like, and they're like,
right.
no, you look very feminine. And they're kind of like, I'm like, exactly. Like, honestly, like girls that want to be big are going to be big and they're probably taking other things to enhance that. So you're not going to
Correct.
ever be that big. Even if you worked out forever, it's just not going to happen.
No, it's just
so I'm
not
like, you
in
have
the
to train
genetic-
hard to build muscle so you can burn the fat and to have the figure that you're looking for. There's just no way that you're going to look like a dude ever.
No.
Yeah,
Channing, you got anything to say about that?
Yeah, I usually walk them through the process of how the body works. It's like, they're usually, they got about 20% too much body fat on them, when they start with me. So I tell them, I go, before you even get to see your muscles, we've got to shed that fat first. And then once, because this is the word that I hate, and you guys could probably agree with me. I want to look toned.
Doesn't exist.
What does that even mean? What does
It doesn't
tone
exist.
mean? It doesn't.
Muscles don't tone.
No, and it's not bad. It's not bad because a lot of it is it's just straight ignorance, right? It's not that they, even know, they don't know. So
Right. Well, no, they
I
need
just
to
try to tell
understand the
them,
muscles hypertrophy or they atrophy. That's it. There's no other option. Right. So either you are bulking or you are losing fat around your muscle. That's it. Period. So I love that. Yes. I love that you said that and brought that up because it is like, I want to be toned. Okay, well, what does that mean?
Yeah, and I do use myself like Sandy. I say, okay, well, do you like my body? Not like that, but I go, do you like the way that I look? And usually the answer is yes, because they came to me. They see
exactly.
what I look like. And I said, if you were to hang out with me at the gym for like an hour, you would be blown away on like what I do. So, and it takes years. I've been working out for years to get to this point. And so I just remind them, you're not going to look like a guy that's actually drugs. They have some help, to look like that because they do. They see like the bodybuilding world and they're like, oh my gosh, am I going to look like her? And I'm like, oh no, honey, that's a whole nother world that I'm not going to have you on anything to assist in that area. You're going to, what I like to say? It's so stupid. Everybody makes fun of it, but I like to tell them on the phone, I'm like, I know you want to look snatched. And they're like, ears perk up. They're like, oh yeah, I do. And snatched just means like tight. Like us women want to look tight and, curvy and, and I say that and they get all hyped up. Yeah, I want to look snatched, not all like, flubby and rolls and,
Soft.
Thank you. Soft. Yes.
Yeah, the dudes like that when you guys do that too, by the way, just so you know.
I know.
Well, that's awesome. Now, here's my next question for you, Sandy. I'm a new mom. Okay. Just picture that with a beard. Okay. I'm a new mom and I'm struggling. I have everything that I'm dealing with postpartum. I don't want to be selfish. I have every excuse under the sun. I'm suffering with depression. My body's not mine anymore. All of these things. What do you tell me?
I definitely it just depends on what's going on. Because sometimes you can have like hormone imbalances after, so you probably do need to seek medical help because that does happen. To make sure that you're okay. So I would tell them, go get some blood work done, make sure that you're good, make sure that it's nothing that's like, that you need to take supplementation for or any of that. And they tell me that they're good. Then I just encourage them, look, going to the gym is going to make you feel better. It's going to increase your endorphins. You're going to feel a lot better. Try it out. Follow the plan, meaning eat the right foods, get your exercise in, and you'll see how that's a natural antidepressant. You don't need to take all this extra drugs or all that. not until you see what exercise can do for you and eating healthy and feeling back like yourself again. And I think that's encouraging for them. And if I have to check in with them every day, then I check in with them every day just to make sure that they're feeling okay. If they want to talk about it, then we can talk about it. I try to empathize with them a lot because everybody has a different situation again, and everybody kind of works differently. Some people don't like to be kind of like talk to so boldly. It just depends. So I try to build a relationship with my clients. I get to know them. And in the beginning, I am very understanding. And then as I kind of get to know them more, then I start pushing back a little, kind of like, well, that's what you said last time. So what about this time? Or what if you do it this way? And it seems to work for me with them, just depending on the client. So I think that once you build that relationship and you're able to guide and they're more open to you guiding them and showing them the way, it becomes a little bit easier, for sure.
It's really evident that you care about your clients. And from the very start of this, you had it in your heart to be of service. This was what you were destined to do, just like we discussed a while back. And it's amazing to watch you grow, and you show up to everything. You are so engaged, super engaged. You are going to be the next female in leadership. We already know that. We've already discussed it. And we're just trying to put together the pieces on that side of it. We love being around you. We love having you on the calls. I love calling you out because I always catch you off guard. It's like my favorite thing to do.
You do.
I know. I'll scan. There'll be like 4 pages or 3 pages of faces on here, and I'll be like, and then I'll see you sitting there like you're like perfectly. You have like perfect posture. You're sitting right there. You're like, I can tell in your eyes. You're like, don't fucking call on me, please don't call on me. I'm like, Sandy. I'm like, what's up, girl? And it's always the same. You just have the best smile, and you just make you light up the entire call. And I love that about you. So if I'm looking to find you and to work with you, how do I do that?
Instagram is definitely where I'm the most active. You'll see my day-to-day stuff. I love sharing all that because I love to motivate my clients and my viewers to kind of get to the gym, see, like, kind of showing them if I can do it, you can do it. So let's go, let's get it, showing them my meals, and then just kind of even checking in on them on there too. So definitely Instagram. It's at Sandy Salcedo Fitness, and definitely add me, and you can see. You can also hit me up if you want me to be your coach, for sure.
Absolutely, and you definitely.
And I'm open to coaching everyone and anyone. It's not just moms. I have a lot of law enforcement clients that I work with, both male and female. Some college kids. So I definitely coach anybody who wants to have a lifestyle change, wants to feel empowered, and just needs that little bit of guidance and push. I'm here for you. I'm all about that.
I love that. Sandy, this was really, really fun. I loved having you on here, and I'm so glad Channy came on too. It made for a really good episode. And if you guys like what you heard and you like this, make sure you comment, make sure you like it, share it, put us out there. We're doing this, to share a little bit about each and every one of us in this community, and get our story, our mission out. We have amazing people just like Channy. Make sure you subscribe to our channel right here at Justin Wenzel Fitness, and we'll catch you guys next time. Thank you so much for viewing. All right, guys, that wraps up an episode of the Wolves Only podcast powered by JWFIT. Listen, if you guys like what you heard, make sure you subscribe, make sure you like and comment, help us get our message out there. If you want to work with our team, go ahead and click the link in the description below. Schedule a call with us. We'd love to get you on. We really appreciate you guys listening. And if you have any other questions, you can reach out to us on all forms of social media. Thank you so much.